Let's consider the problem h over h squared minus 16 minus 9h over h squared minus 8h plus 16. Okay? We've got a subtraction problem. What we need to do first of all is to find the lowest common denominator, and in order to do that, what we're going to do is factor each of the denominators. Difference of two squares, and therefore the factors are going to be h minus 4 times h plus 4. Here we've got a trinomial for the second expression, and if we can and so we're going to have factors of 16 which give us a sum of 8, and those are 4 and 4, so that's fairly easy. So we have x minus 4 times x minus 4. So in order to find the lowest common denominator, then we need to include an h minus 4 and an h plus 4 factor for the first expression. It's a multiple of the first expression. Going to the second expression, we need in fact two x minus 4 factors. We've only got one x, and so we'll go ahead and put an h minus 4. And I notice here that I changed my h's to x's, so this should be an h and this should be an h. Okay? So h minus 4 times factors. H minus 4 times h minus 4, if we cover the middle factor, we have two h minus 4 factors. So this is the lowest common denominator for this particular problem. All right, so we're going to write the first denominator as h minus 4 times h plus 4 times h minus 4. That's the lowest common denominator. So we go back to our original problem, and we see that we had an h minus 4 and an h plus 4, but what's missing is that second h minus 4 factor. So we go back to that and multiply that. Will have to be multiplied by h minus 4 as well. So for that first term, we have h times h minus 4. Minus 4 factors, but we don't have an h plus 4, and so we need to multiply the denominator by an h plus 4 factor. So we'll multiply the denominator by an h plus 4, which means it needs 4. Okay, so for that second expression, then we have a 9h times h plus 4. All right, so now we've got the common denominator, so we can rewrite denominator is h minus 4 times h plus 4 times h minus 4. And we're subtracting from that, we're subtracting 9h times h plus 4. There's a lot of writing. Now we're going to go ahead and multiply out, simplify the numerators by multiplying all of those out. So we'll have an h squared minus 4h for the first part. So I'll go ahead and cross that out because I've written it in another way. And then I've got a minus. Be really careful with this minus right here. Since you've got a minus right here, it's minus the entire quantity that we have here. So when we multiply it out, it's really important that you put a parenthesis there. So 9h times is going to be a 36h. But remember, there's a negative in front of all of that. Okay, when we pull the negative through, then we're going to have h squared minus 4h squared minus 36h. Remember that a negative in front of an expression changes the signs inside the expression. And this is over all three of the factors in the denominator. Squared, and then we have minus 4h and a minus 36h, and we end up with a minus 40h, and that's over h minus 4 times h plus 4 times h minus 4. Leave it in factor form in the denominator because the possibility is always there that you're going to be able to simplify that further. Now, we've got a negative in both of the terms in the numerator, and we've got a factor of 8 that's a common factor and an h that's a common factor. So let's go ahead and factor 8h out of the terms in the numerator. When you're factoring out a negative, be really careful the places where you may have some trouble. So if I factor a negative 8h from this first term, it's 8h squared. Now, if I have an h left, but now be really careful. What we started with was a negative 40h, and in order to have us a plus right here. Check it out. Minus 8h times h is what we had before, minus 8h squared, and then minus 8h times 5 is a minus 40h. Okay? So now we have this common, so this is already in lowest terms. If you could cancel, you would try to do with this problem. So to add or subtract, I don't know if I can put both of them together, but to add or subtract rational expressions, the first thing to do is to find the lowest common denominator. We write each of the rational expression over that lowest common denominator, remembering that we're going to have to do a lot of multiplication in order to do that. So for example, in the problem that we just finished, we had an h over h squared minus 16. It had two of these factors, but it needed this third factor, and so we multiply the numerator and denominator by that third factor. Okay, so that's this part over here. Write each rational expression over the lowest common denominator. We add or subtract the numerators, whatever, then we simplify if possible to end up with something in lowest terms.